You ever have one of those days where you realize, in the blink of an eye, that your whole life could turn upside down just because one person decided to play hero? That's how it started for me, Detective Sarah Martinez, when a silver Honda squealed out of the Jefferson Elementary parking lot like it was running from the law. My 12-year-old daughter, Emma, pressed up against the window, her face ghost white with fear, while Karen Whitmore, our infamous HOA treasurer and self-appointed guardian of suburban order, gripped the wheel and ranted on her Bluetooth. She really thought she was saving my kid from some dangerous parenting. She had no clue she'd just made the worst mistake of her life, and that she'd picked the wrong, quiet neighbor to mess with. Now, let me back up a sec, because, believe it or not, my whole world was built on keeping secrets. For 3 years, I'd been undercover for a federal narcotics task force, posing as a single mom working from home. Emma grew up with rules most kids never even think about. Stay low-key, don't trust outsiders, and don't ever talk about what mom really does. We'd moved to Maple Ridge Estates for its bland, keep-to-yourself vibe. That worked great, at least until Karen Whitmore moved in across the street. You know the type. She's in her early 40s, freshly divorced, and pours all her energy into being the HOA's treasurer and the queen of the neighborhood watch. She documents everything, mailbox heights, garden hose colors, you name it. I swear, some of the cartel guys I've busted were less persistent than her. For months, Karen kept her eye on me, my weird hours, late-night calls, those unmarked packages, surveillance gear, by the way. And she didn't like any of it. She'd stand at her window, spying through those lace curtains, scribbling in her little notebook like she was building a case against me. And to her, she was. It escalated on an ordinary October afternoon. Emma was just walking home, earbuds in, when Karen cornered her by our mailbox, her golden retriever in tow, and started grilling her. Where does mommy go at night? Who are those people visiting? What's with the packages? I caught Karen interrogating my daughter and went out there in my bare feet, heart pounding, voice steady, just trying to get her to back off. She threw out her usual syrupy sweet tone, masking the steel underneath. Just looking out for the kids, you know? But it was clear. She'd made it her mission to find out what was wrong with us. After that, Karen's security efforts ramped up. New cameras, pointed right at my door. Dog walks scheduled perfectly to intercept Emma. HOA meetings turned into whispered sessions about concerning residents. She even formed a safety committee that, I kid you not, met twice a week. I called the non-emergency police line. Nothing they could do. Property management? More worried about keeping the HOA happy than protecting tenants like me. Even Emma started to show the strain, peeking out the windows before going outside, asking to be picked up from school, staying off the front lawn. It hurt to watch her shrink like that. The breaking point came on a freezing Friday in November. Emma burst through the door sobbing. Karen had accused me of being a drug dealer in front of other kids and threatened to call Child Protective Services. Said kids of criminals get taken away. That's when Karen went from annoying to dangerous. I promised Emma I'd handle it, but honestly, I wasn't sure how. That night, I knocked on Karen's door. She answered in curlers and a pink robe, arms folded, ready for war. I told her, mother to mother, to leave my kid out of it. She refused, saying, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to worry about. She'd already called CPS and built her case. I stood there, heart pounding, options dwindling. I could blow my cover, threaten legal action, or hope the system would protect us. But Karen was convinced she was the hero in some suburban crime drama. And then, like some kind of sick joke, she really went through with it. On a regular Tuesday, I got a call from school. Someone had picked up Emma, claiming to be a family friend. Middle-aged, well-dressed, blonde. Yep, it was Karen. My world spun. I grabbed my badge, my weapon, and called for backup. Tracked Emma's phone to a cabin by Lake Harmony, Karen's weekend place. I forwarded out there, my mind running on cop autopilot. I was furious, terrified, and more focused than I'd ever been. I crept up on the cabin, weapon drawn, and saw Emma inside, scared, but safe. Karen was on the phone, still convinced she was doing the right thing. I stepped in, badge out, voice loud and clear. Karen Whitmore, you're under arrest for kidnapping. She went from cocky to terrified in seconds. The police arrived. She ranted about being the real victim, that she was saving Emma from a criminal. Even as she was cuffed, she couldn't stop, accusing, shouting, clinging to her fantasy. Emma ran to me and hugged me like she never wanted to let go. She whispered, "I kept thinking about what you taught me. Mom, something felt wrong. That kid's tougher than she knows." The legal side was almost anticlimactic. Karen charged with kidnapping, unlawful restraint, interfering with a federal investigation. Her good intentions meant nothing in court. Her mental health evaluation revealed a delusional disorder, but the judge wasn't having it. 18 months in prison, 3 years probation, banned from HOAs for life. She even violated her parole later, stalking us again, so they tacked on more time. The neighborhood changed its policies after all this. Tighter rules on board members, stricter school pickup protocols, you name it. Emma and I moved, started fresh. She made friends at her new school, joined the debate team. I became a detective with a regular badge. No more deep cover, just a normal cop and mom. Sometimes Emma would ask, "Do you think Karen thought she was helping me?" And I'd tell her, some people need to believe their actions are righteous because the truth would hurt too much. But real help means listening, not forcing your will on others. Turns out, the real villain wasn't the obvious bad guy. It was unchecked power, paranoia, and neighbors who go along just to avoid conflict. Karen's file cabinets were full of surveillance notes and wild theories. And the saddest part? Most of her supporters admitted they just went along to keep her off their backs. The property management company settled with us after almost evicting us based on her lies. Emma's school had to rethink security. Emma had nightmares for a while, but she's healing, braver, sharper, stronger than before. And as for me, I learned there are some battles you win just by surviving and holding on to what matters, your family, your truth. Karen became a cautionary tale, her name a warning in HOA meetings across the county. Maybe she learned something, maybe not. But I do know this. Justice isn't always clean or simple, and sometimes the scariest villains are hiding behind polite smiles and HOA badges. So what do you think? Is it ever okay to take the law into your own hands if you think you're right? Or do we all owe each other a little more trust and a lot less paranoia? Let me know your thoughts, because stories like this, they don't just happen in movies. They happen right next door.